Yeah, well, not what. If it wasn't for the music,
Getting funky now.
it's a little catchy, right? Well, it's got to try to stay
Hip and fresh.
right, hip and fresh,
Right. Sure.
relevant.
Let's go with that.
Relevant. 1-0 right now, Kitchener Rangers.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we want to see this thing further ahead, but 6-5 shots on goal in our favor right now.
I think that's the tail of the tape, though, because frankly, you can't expect to shoot 6 shots on goal in a period and come out ahead. That's low.
So what did the Rangers do we didn't?
Well, honestly, what they did was, it was a pretty goal. There's nothing Nick could do about it, and it was an error on our part, right? Lucas Fisher, he just didn't quite have a hold of the puck at the blue line, trying to get it out of our defensive zone, and he ended up trying to, avoid the inevitable hit from the Kitchener guy, and gave up the puck. They came in 2-on-1, and just couldn't.
It was a great play by Kitchener.
It was a great play. They capitalized on one of our errors.
They did.
That was all there was.
That being said, I still think the Sarnia Sting are looking strong out there. They've held off the Rangers from getting any more goals, and again, those shots on goal are pretty low for both teams here.
Yes.
So both teams are doing something. Aside from the one goal, they look pretty evenly matched out there.
I think that's a big part of it. I think we've got two teams here that are quite comparable in terms of skills and abilities and desire to win and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're sort of seeing the effect of that out there. Now I would be remiss.
Here it comes.
I would be remiss.
Yeah.
If I didn't say that. There's a lot of sloppy play going on out there, and a lot of penalties that probably could have been called.
Okay.
That were not.
Yeah, but wait a minute.
And I just,
it doesn't seem like you're ever happy with no matter what the refs do. Would you rather them just not call anything? Like if they're not calling, they're just letting them play, or they're making calls you're like, come on, that was a horrible call.
For me, it's about. A big part of it's about safety.
Okay, I get that, but
so
beyond
when you
that,
get the more aggressive penalties, a lot of the significant holding penalties, holding the stick, hauling guys down, smashing them into boards, face first, cross-checking. Some of those ones have the opportunity to really injure somebody. Yeah. Especially someone who's unsuspecting, and I'm not a big fan of that.
Would you rather them be calling delay of game penalties?
No, but I think I would rather see them calling some of the more obvious penalties.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Does it seem a little lopsided to me at the moment as a spectator? Biased one, I will admit. But I just don't see... It hasn't been a fair call so far.
Okay.
Kitchener is getting away with a lot.
All right. I have no opinion on it. I was watching part of it and I was doing other things, but I don't know. Yeah. We could talk referees all day. And
sure we could, and I'm never going to be happy. You're right.
But I think there's still the opportunity there. Well, there's always opportunity, but I'm feeling pretty confident with the Sarnia Sting right now that they're going to go. Because I thought it was, I didn't find it very fast-paced.
I didn't
either.
I
kind of dragging, and they were. Yeah. I almost feel like each team was feeling each other out there, and now coming out in the second period, I think they'd be like, okay.
Yeah,
what's going on?
You're right. That very much was an early round. Where you're just kind of feeling the guy out.
Is that all you got?
Is that all you got?
Right.
But and that that bodes well because we might have a little more in the tank. Come third period, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We did pretty well last year in the third period. Second was always not necessarily pretty. Or it was inconsistent, let's say that.
Your second was?
Second period.
Yeah,
typically was inconsistent.
All right.
We had some good games. We had some really bad games in the second period. But third period tended to be pretty strong for the Sting.
There's multiple strategies out there. You could be saying okay, we're saving our energy for the next period. Do we come out as hard as in the first?
Don't get me wrong. That was not a slow period, but I wouldn't say it was a quick period.
I think it could be faster.
I think it was in the middle.
It could hit the vertical pedal on the right a little bit more.
I think so. I think
but so is Kitchener capable. I mean, again, they're coming off a strong number of
absolutely.
2-0 right now. Sarnia Sting really not far behind.
It was nice back and forth. I will admit that
was
first
a tennis
period was nice
match.
and 1-0. That's not a huge.
No. But I will say every
not a
time
huge
the Rangers got close to us, I got a little nervous. Maybe it's because of that way that first goal went down.
Yeah.
Then you go, But, I mean, Nick
got him manage
really
the
seems
errors, right?
to he's shaking that first goal off. Like he's still
Yeah.
it feels like he's right there.
He's in there. I think so. I think good goalie.
100%. I wonder what Ben Gaudreau's feeling right now or thinking right now because, we don't want to take away from, what he did for this team last year, previous years, but last year very strong as well. Maybe not so good at the gold medal game, but he came back, talked about that, shook that off, and then, he's in a different position there tonight.
Sure he is. And I think, he's got a, with just the way things went this year, in the end of last season and this season with him going to Tampa Bay and that kind of stuff, I think, he's got to be thinking about his future. I think that's number one.
And was probably hoping to not come back.
I think you're probably right.
Fair
Absolutely. Enough. You got a taste of the big show. It's hard to turn back from that, right? So now he's here, and Nick, has put on a heck of a performance. And see, I'm sure Benny's been really great with all the other goaltenders in terms of helping them along.
Well, and he was a leader for them too, right?
Exactly.
So now he's sitting back and kind of watching what's
and he's
become
going like Nick's playing great, so you can't take it away from him.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm sure Benny's itching to, how do I get back in there?
Yeah.
And if I was the Sting Hockey Club right now, you're right. Let's not take anything away what Gaudreau's contributed to this team.
No.
In this club, he's been an absolute
been
rock
a key
for us,
factor.
a very big key factor, and a great player and stuff. But there is a small downside to Ben. I think, he beats himself up a little bit over some things I don't think
he beats himself up a lot.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben. I love you, buddy. I'm glad you're back,
too.
but I think he beat himself up a lot last year.
And I think that's so he tended to a couple of slumps, which were not so good. But if he can get positive and stay focused and get himself back into this, otherwise, I think he's a tradable commodity. He's an incredibly good goalie, and maybe a change of scenery would be just as good for him.
Well, we've talked about that before. We've seen other players.
Considering we already have
who was it left and went to Guelph?
We've done a lot of that.
And then like, holy crap, where were you when you were here, right?
Absolutely.
And then you went. But the scenery in the locker room, the different philosophies. You and I, it depends who you're standing beside, right, and how you
Sometimes
behave.
It does,
if Lee's here, it's a different game when you're not here, right? So that holds true out on the ice.
Fair enough.
And your skills can be enhanced more.
Agreed.
But I like how you put that as a commodity, because as a commodity, it's we really are. As a player, you're a commodity. He's got friends. You have friends.
I do.
And that could be used to the Sarnia Sting advantage. You go, okay, we got a great goalie here, obviously, but where would he go? As he's an overager, there's not a lot of options left.
Well, at the moment, you're right. He may be looking into the new year before that could happen.
Yeah,
right?
I would think so.
Because you need a team that he would be great on a team where they were Mem Cup ready and making a bid, we could probably get a lot of value for Ben for a team that was going to the Mem Cup.
Sure. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? And, do I think we're going there this year? Hard to say whether or not that's part of the plan, because we do have a fairly young team, but there's still a lot of hockey to be played this season. So
I got to jump in there because I hear that all the time. It's like, oh, but they're a young team, so, we don't. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, they could do good. But you can just hear it in the tone of voice. I don't know that when people are saying that, they're like, then they use the excuse they're a young team. I think there's an advantage to being a young team. Sure, there's lack of experience. That's the obvious key right there. But the fact that you're young, if you're coachable and you're trainable to the coach and their philosophies, and you can adapt, I think this is a team that really could go all the way, right?
And all I mean by that, honestly, Dave, is that when you've got a young team, you need to foster those philosophies and those strategies and stuff like that. And they're either going to take to it or not.
Yeah.
Generally, if you have a younger team, you're not going to say, we're winning the Mem Cup this year just because our team is so strong. Because you don't know. There's a lot of wild card factors in that, in that situation. So with a young team, you talk about things like rebuilding years where you're taking a young team and you're instilling those values and strategies and that game style and all that sort of stuff. And then you get a good year of them playing that way, and then all of a sudden you realize, hang on a minute, we do have a Mem Cup team.
Yeah.
And now if we're looking at that, then our trades take on a different strategy.
I wonder,
and you might pick an overager that's at the top of his game, just to really bolster the team.
I'd be curious to talk to one of the coaches and ask them the question.
Absolutely.
What's the philosophy behind, do you come in at the very beginning and go, I got a Mem Cup team? Because that's the power of positive thinking and the laws of the universe and on? Do you ask that question? Or, then there's a realist side to it. It's like, well, we got a pretty young team. They're strong, but, I think we're molding over the next 2-3 years.
Absolutely.
Long term. I don't know. I mean, that was, I think that would be the tough balance to find in this. And that's one of the advantages to playing in the OHL is everybody's in the same puck, if you will.
Yeah, because it's the same process too, right? Every team's going to go through this. You want to have that balance of experience and fresh blood. That's hungry for it.
Speed.
You need all that. You need all of those things.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to foster it. Sometimes it's just naturally there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just know you've got a team. Sometimes you don't. You got to feel it out. And there's nothing but time that is going to help you.
Well, and that's where you rely a lot on folks like Dylan Sika who are out scouting.
Absolutely.
And conversations between Dylan and the coaches and everything that goes along around it as well. Everybody's got their role.
It's a big process. And
absolutely.
A lot of people behind it, and you're right.
Well, that's why I kind of chuckle sometimes when it's like, oh, why did they do that? Well, you don't know the whole story, and you likely never will as to why did they trade that one.
Yep.
But
I've had a lot of questions about trades in the past, I can tell you.
But Jay, there's got to be a reason.
Well, absolutely.
It's just that you don't know the answer and you want to know.
This is true.
Why don't they call up Jay and ask him what he thinks for crying out loud?
Absolutely.
I mean, he
What's
knows.
Up with that?
Crap, I don't know. Maybe they don't have your phone number. I'll ask Al. Say, hey, do you want Jay?
You want Jay's number?
Hey,
he's got all
Dylan,
the answers.
give Jay a call, will you? He's got a few words for you. Yeah, okay.
Nice.
All right, we're about 2.5 minutes away before the Sarnia Sting come back out in the ice against the Kitchener Rangers. Two, I want to say, fairly equal teams. I know it's early to tell, but at this point, seem like both strong teams.
Yep.
And we're definitely in for more of an exciting hockey game is my prediction.
I agree.
And I think the second period is where it's all really going to change right now. Hopefully in favor of the Sarnia Sting.
Let's hope so.
Post-game press conference coming up tonight as well in the restaurant. If you're here, we hope you'll stop by. If you're not, tune in on the Sarnia Sting Facebook page, the show with David Burrows. I don't know if you know, I'm everywhere. And it's not always with him.
It's true everywhere.
Although a lot of times he's around too.
Yes,
motorcycles.
this is true. Yeah.
We're having a good time here, and it's nice to see the numbers out again. I don't have the numbers yet. Hopefully by next time. But until then, the Sarnia Sting coming out on the ice right now, live from the concourse with the Sarnia Sting. I'm David Burrows, and this is my friend, Jay Peckham.
Go Sting, go!